Friends, this is an important video for those taxpayers who are claiming any sort of GST refunds, as there have been many amendments as well as clarifications by the CBIC via various notifications and circulars to give effect to the recommendations of the 47th GST Council meeting. We will discuss all of these one by one in this video. The most important clarification and amendment is the exclusion of the period 1st March 2020 to 28th of February 2022 for calculation of the time barring periods for applying for GST refunds. Let us understand by means of an example. Say you have exported certain goods or services in the month of July 2018. The time barring period for applying for these refunds was July 2020, but you have not applied or could not apply for the refunds by July 2020. Now, since the period from 1st March 2020 till 28th February 2022 has been excluded from calculation of the period of time barring for the refunds, therefore, the due date for claiming such refunds would be extended till July 2022. Therefore, for the period July 2018, if you are an exporter and if you have missed applying for the refunds, you can still apply now as per this clarification which has come in by the CBIC. Similarly, in case of other refunds like inverted duty refunds, cash ledger refunds, refunds of TCS, TCS, TDS under GST, etc., you have to see what is your relevant date for the purpose of GST refunds. You have to see your time barring period and thereafter exclude from the period 1st March 2020, and in case your time barring has not happened as of now, you can claim the refunds under GST still. The question is, what about those taxpayers who have already claimed the refunds for subsequent period? Our respectful submission in this case is, if the portal is not allowing you to file the refunds of the earlier periods apropos this clarification or circular by the CBIC, then Rule 97 capital A, which permits the application of refunds via the manual process and where it is eligible to apply online, the same process can be applied offline manually, that could be taken shelter under before the field officers or higher authorities. The next important clarification and acceptance by the CBIC apropos the Honorable Apex Court decision in the case of inverted duty refunds. The formula under Rule 89 Sub-Rule 5 has been amended via notification 14/2020, via which your inverted duty refunds would be increased. Let us understand what was the old formula and what is the new formula and how your inverted duty refunds would increase. The old formula was open bracket inverted duty supplies in the numerator divided by adjusted total turnover into net ITC bracket closed minus tax payable thereof. Now, the first part in the bracket what I have discussed, that is inverted duty supplies divided by adjusted total turnover into net ITC. Net ITC, of course, as per the Honorable Apex Court's ruling, would be only that ITC which has been claimed on account of inputs and would exclude input services ITC. This portion would remain the same. However, the tax payable portion that has undergone a change. That would be tax payable into, in the numerator, ITC availed on inputs divided by net ITC, right? So, your tax payable also would be apportioned in the same ratio in which you have claimed input tax credit on inputs and input services. If the refund of input services is not eligible to you as per the Honorable Apex Court's ruling, the tax payable should not be considered also for the proportion of the input tax credit availed for input services. We have already filed one such refund as per the new formula, and I can tell you that there is a lot of difference in the GST refunds which you are claiming, and therefore please look into this formula and file the new inverted duty refunds as per the new formula. However, the portal as of now is undergoing a change, so you can wait for some time. The question is, what about those inverted duty refunds which you have already claimed as per the old formula? Notification 14/2022 is applicable from 5th of July 2022, and as per the CBIC, the new refunds of inverted duty shall be eligible for this new formula. However, the same may be contested in the courts as far as the old refunds are concerned, which have already been granted as per the old formula. One might remember that when this formula went through a change in the month of June 2018, then the refunds which were granted for input services also, they were reclaimed back from the taxpayers. Therefore, it might be argued that now when it has been accepted by the CBIC that the new formula should be applicable, the old refunds shall also be sanctioned and the differential amount as per the new formula should be made eligible to the taxpayers. However, this matter is contentious, and some water needs to be flown under the bridge over the next few months, and we have to see how the law takes its course. The third important relief, I would say, is for those exporters who had claimed refunds, got refunds, however they were not eligible for the refunds, and they have paid back the refunds with interest and penalty, but there was no mechanism or machinery to recredit this amount back to the input tax credit ledger of the taxpayers. Now, White Circular 174, it has been clarified that the same can be recredited via form PMT 03 capital A. So, you as a taxpayer have to apply in a format which has been provided in the same circular, and within 30 days of the application, the recredit has to be done by the jurisdictional officer. So, for those exporters like those who have availed the advance authorization benefit and claimed on payment of duty refunds and repaid back the refunds, this is a big relief and can be availed of immediately. Another important change in GST refunds is for those taxpayers who were claiming inverted duty refunds where they were getting the benefit of a concessional notification, concessional rate notification. For example, if you are a manufacturer and if you have supplied to a merchant exporter at 0.1% GST, Therefore, you were claiming inverted duty refund which was applicable and you were eligible under Circular 135. However, certain field officers were denying the refunds because of a para in Circular 135 which debarred the refund on the same goods or services where there was no change. Now it has been clarified that that para is not applicable for those refunds which are for those suppliers who are supplying under certain rate concessional or exemption notification. Another big relief for exporters who were tagged as risky exporters by the DGARM wing of the CBIC. We all know that where an exporter was tagged as risky exporters and you are applying online for on payment of duty refunds under GST, the refunds were denied, and until you were untagged as a risky exporters, the refunds were kept on hold. We all know that risky exporters tags was only untagged after the intervention of the high courts, and thereby these taxpayers' liquidity was blocked under GST refunds until they were untagged as risky exporters. Now an automated mechanism has been put in place whereby your file would be transferred by way of an automated GST RFD1 which would flow to your jurisdictional officer, and on the basis of merits the jurisdictional officer would process your refunds even though you are continuing to be tagged as a risky exporter. While this is a big relief in the matter of GST refunds, yet there are many other hardships for those exporters who are tagged as risky exporters and they are at pains to get themselves untagged, like 100% of the cartons are opened at the ports, and therefore even after this relief, still the government needs to look at a way whereby these risky exporters tag can be untagged within a frame of time and as per the procedures set by the SOP by the CBIC and within the timeline set by the CBIC itself. For those recipients which were claiming refunds on deemed exports, it has been rightly clarified that the input tax credit is not a normal input tax credit and would not be subject to section 17 of the CGST Act. Those outlets in the immigration area, they were subject to a separate refund procedure under Rule 95 capital A, and they had to apply for refund in Form 10 capital B. This was a big task, and as a relief measure for these outlets which are in the immigration area and sell the goods or services, now they can claim refunds as a normal exporter of goods or services. So this is a relief for such outlets in the immigration area. We all know now in the immigration area there is a big market and there is a huge consumption of goods and services, and therefore it is a big relief for such huge consumers of goods and services. So friends, there are few more clarifications and amendments in the matter of GST refunds, but we have discussed the most critical aspects of GST refunds, which benefit can be taken by the taxpayers. Do keep liking this channel and pressing the bell button so that you can be notified in case of our new videos. We would be releasing one by one new videos on all the critical aspects and the changes in GST and income tax and DGFT, customs, etc. Do keep logging on this channel. Thank you for a patient hearing. Thank you very much.